Well, country's largest car manufacturer, Maruti Suzuki, also decided to add a little bit of convenience to our lives. This convenience is called the Celerio. Now, this is a hatchback that comes with an automated gearbox and is actually fuel efficient. So today we are going to find out if this automated gearbox is actually a convenience for us on the roads or not. The Maruti Suzuki Celerio has replaced the A-Star and the Zen Estilo in the market. On the look of it, it comes with fine and neat lines. There's not much of design language to boast of. The Celerio looks taller and wider than other hatchbacks in the market that are in the competition. The total length of the Celerio is at 3600 mm and it stands 1560 mm tall. Well, now if you take a look at the Celerio, there's not much of designing to boast about. First look at it and you can easily recognize it to be a very typical Maruti. You see, you get a standard grille, you get the same set of lamps. In fact, if you take a closer look at it, you'll feel as if Maruti took a box, put Zen Estilo in it, put Alto 800 in it, mixed it very well and pop out the Celerio. Even the side profile has not much to talk about. In fact, it's a little too plain. It does come with large windows and the windows roll down completely so that the passengers on the rear seat do not feel suffocated. Well, another thing that impresses me a lot about this new Celerio is the amount of space that you get in the car. Well, you don't get this kind of space in any other car that it is competing with. This seat has been adjusted to my height and there's good amount of knee space here. There's a good amount of headroom here and the seats are actually comfortable with enough thigh support and enough lumbar support. So this is a car that can seat 3 adults and it can do it quite comfortably. On the rear, the lamps stand tall on both sides of the boot door. There's no lever to open the boot from the cabin. You get a boot handle on the door only. Now let's hit the road to find out how this automated gearbox really works. This segment first technology has created quite a buzz since its launch. The difference between an automated and an automatic gearbox is that in an automated gearbox, the gear shift happens through an electric hydraulic unit placed on top of the gearbox. There are two advantages of it. One, that its maintenance is almost at par with the manual, and second, it does not compromise on fuel efficiency. Now the Celerio is powered with the same K10 engine that we are all familiar with. For the figures, it's a 68 bhp output and a 90 Nm torque. When you take it out on the road, in the city, it's sufficient. Even on the highway, it's not bad. In fact, if you're driving in the automatic version, the gearing is a little long, so it gives you that extra little power which is needed when you're overtaking or maneuvering in the city, and it adds as a benefit when you're driving on the highway as well. This automated gearbox on the Celerio isn't a very smooth unit though. There is an evident hiccup in the car when there is an upshift in the gear. The downshift is rather smooth in comparison. Its small size and power delivery makes it easy to maneuver in the city, and a turning radius of 4.7 meters makes it very easy to park as well. The car is quite easy to drive in the city. The steering is nice and responsive. It's not very precise. You have to give it regular inputs, but it does the job quite decently. It's easy to cut and corner. In fact, it's quite easy to park as well. You also get a manual transmission option here where you can change your gears as per your desired RPM levels for that extra punch if it's needed at all. But mostly automated gearbox, which is made for the Celerio, which is a first time thing that Maruti has introduced, is very convenient. If you're driving in the manual mode and have to come to a sudden halt, then the gear drops to the first on its own without an input. Another good thing about the Celerio is the suspension. The Celerio takes bumps with ease and the ride quality is fairly good. Around corners, it feels confident, and on high speeds also, it does manage to remain calm and composed. The engine sure does get noisy once you push this 1000cc engine beyond its comfort zone. One more pit stop before we wrap up to run you through all the features of the Celerio. This is the automated top variant, which is the VXi. It's sufficiently loaded with all 4 power windows. The Kenwood music system that you see here is not standard and neither are the speakers. However, there are 2 cup holders in the front, 1 bottle holder just behind the handbrake. The dials are big and easily readable. They display average fuel economy, door ajar warning, etc. The rear seat is a 60-40 split for bigger luggage. Otherwise, there is sufficient boot space of 235 litres. The air conditioning is manual only and there's soothing ambient light in the cabin. Now, there are a lot of reasons behind the popularity of the Maruti Suzuki Celerio. For starters, we live in a country that is obsessed about fuel efficiency, and in fact, Maruti Suzuki is the one that came out with the punchline asking kitna deti hai. To answer that question, well, the Celerio in mixed conditions, city and highway, returned us an economy of almost 16 kilometers to a litre, which I personally believe is phenomenal for a car of this class. The second thing about the Celerio is the fact that it's priced just about right. The ZXi version is only available in the manual. The top variant in the automated gearbox that you can buy is the VXi, which we have with us, and it is priced at about 4.43 lakh ex-showroom Delhi. So that price is very competitive. It is spacious, it is comfortable, and it is fuel efficient.